Welcome back to the Center for Equus Coaching. We are a community of coaches who believe that partnering with horses can help transform the way we connect with ourselves, others, and the world around us. I'm Travis Stock, and I'm a part of the instructor team for the Center for Equus Coaching. One of my favorite things to do here is highlight the amazing coaches who've trained with us and the powerful work they're sharing with the world. Today, I'm joined by Equus Coaching Master Facilitator, Stash McCollough. Stash is the founder of Bridle Up Hope San Diego, which is a mental health focused equestrian program for girls and women, and Equivana, a venue designed for equine facilitated learning and retreats with offerings such as executive coaching, leadership development, and Equus life coaching. Thanks for joining me, Stash.
Thanks for having me, Travis. It's great to see you.
It's so great to see you. You have been doing some very fun new adventures in your life that I'm really excited to hear more about. But before we jump into what you've created in the world, I'd love to rewind us a little bit and find out more about how you made your journey through Equus coaching. So, tell me a little bit about how you found out about the Center for Equus Coaching.
It was one of those divine moments of intervention. I'm positive of it.
Hmm.
I spent about 6 hours online. This was 2021, so right in the middle of the pandemic. I was working full time. I was raising two young children. I was navigating the beginnings of a divorce. All the things were happening at once. And I spent about 6 hours looking for an online therapist. And I finally gave up. Nothing resonated with me. And I turned off my computer and I went and I picked up my phone and looked at my personal email, and there was an invitation from the Center of for Equus Coaching to be a practice client. And I thought, well, if that doesn't tell me what I need to know right now, nothing will.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
I responded immediately. It literally popped in as I opened my phone. It was a brand new email, and I was the first one to reply. And I showed up a couple days later, not knowing really what to expect, and had an incredible experience. I was actually coached by two different practice coaches that were practicing their hours for their certification. So it was really a great experience.
Oh my gosh, isn't that the way we all find out about it? We somehow figure out a way to experience it for the first time, and then you just do it once and you're hooked. You're like,
Oh,
oh,
it's
okay, I got to do that more often.
Yep, it's so true. I remember just thinking in the midst of that session, holy crap, this is it. This
Hmm.
is what I've been
Mm.
looking for, like, my heart's been looking for so long, and it was an amazing experience.
Oh, I love that. You were talking about, I hear this from a lot of people as a coach myself who works with clients. That whole online process of trying to find a support person, whether it's a therapist or a coach, can be really disheartening. You can spend a lot of time reviewing for a therapist and
Yep.
either not get a call back, or they're not taking your insurance, or like it just is such a process these days to often get the mental health support that we need.
It's so true, and I think there was definitely something about how sterile it felt as well, because at that
Mm,
time, we'd all been online full time for a little
yeah,
while, and
yeah.
it just was really hard to get a sense of any individual provider. Um, and I think that's what really resonated with me about the Equus coaching opportunity was it was going in person, outside in a
Mm.
safe way with horses, and it's hard to go wrong with that.
I know. Even if you didn't really connect with the facilitator or the coach or the therapist, you just still have a horse right next to you, and that's a pretty good win right there.
Totally.
So your first session, was that in San Diego?
It was in San Diego,
Mhm.
and, I still remember the horse, his name was Baron. I
Mm.
think I walked away with a horse crush, which we often do with our first
Uh-huh.
time we work with a new horse.
Yeah. We have such a really lovely little community of Equus coaches in San Diego now. If anybody's like listening or watching this, if you are looking for an Equus coach and you live anywhere near San Diego, there are quite a few people that have trained with us. One of our instructors lives down there, Renee Sievert. And so there's just this lovely little community of Equus coaching coaches that are down there. And there's lots of experiences like you had where it's sort of like, oh, I get to be a volunteer client, or somebody's learning to become an Equus coach and they need somebody to practice with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny when uh, literally the day had that session, I went home and sent an email and said, "Can I please sign up for Equus coaching classes?" And my first conversation with Erin, she said some of her best, dearest friends have come through her time with Equus coaching training. And at that
Yeah.
time, I thought, I wonder how could that be at this point in our lives. But it's true. I'm still in really close contact with the coaches that I've had my first experience with. one of them has helped me with future projects that I moved on to. I mean, it's just a really incredible community.
Yeah, and I think that word community is exactly why that is that we aren't just a training center where you learn a skill set. We are really invested in creating community. We've really learned from horses the power of a herd, the power of doing it together. We all get to be individuals, we get to be unique, we get to express ourselves in the ways that we do, but it's just way more fun to do it in community. It's way easier. It's way more fulfilling when you've got a herd of people that share some of the same values and sort of core ideas and let you express them in the ways that feel really authentic to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty amazing how all the people that go through the program have the same curriculum and the same general experience, but how different each of us are. It's
Hmm.
really neat to see
Yeah.
that each of us find our voice and how we help people with the horses.
So tell me a little bit about maybe some of what your learnings were when you went through the training. Like, how did Equus coaching first impact you?
I think the first thing I would say is it became clear very quickly that you had to do your own work to be able to help others, right? And um, that was hard at first. It was not an easy thing, but it was the most life-changing experience because in order to be present with the horses and really model what we were learning, we had to do our own internal work. And um, one of the things I loved the most about the training was how safe of a space it was always made to be, whether it was in our
Hmm.
Zoom classes or in person at the on-sites. There was a lot of care given to the safety of the space and holding people's privacy as such and giving people the support that they needed. And if you needed just to be quiet, I'll never forget my very first on-site, Travis. I sat down next to you at lunchtime and I was so exhausted, like emotionally exhausted. I just wanted to sit and say nothing. And I said that to you and you said, "Great, me too."
Thank goodness we found each other.
Thank goodness we don't look like we're talking to each other. Um,
Uh-huh.
but that was the kind of thing that happened a lot through the training was people really seeing you and recognizing you. And what that taught me was how to do that for others. So it
Mm,
really made a big difference in the way I show up for people.
that's beautiful. Yeah, it is it's the silly thing about this work we've signed up for is that it's not just a skill set that we get to apply to others. We have to do our own work in order to offer it. And so that is big part of our training, even in the way we structure the on-sites, is that the first on-site is actually every person that's training goes through it as if they are a client. They're coached by the instruction team. They are needing to do their own work in the process because we want you all to have an empathetic understanding of what your clients are going to feel. You're going to want to know how vulnerable that is. You're going to
Mhm.
want to know what defense mechanisms come up. You're going to want to know the exhaustion that can come up from doing that kind of work so that you can really see your clients and honor their own energy pathways through that. So it is definitely a part that I love about our work. And sometimes when I'm in the middle of my own mess, I'm cursing. I'm like, oh, I just want to be able to do a skill that doesn't involve me doing my own work.
Yeah. But, I think in the end, that's probably part of the path that we have to travel to do this work.
Yeah. Are you open to sharing any of the things that got sticky for you in your own work while you were doing the training?
Yeah. I think the thing that came out w- very quickly was my need. I had spent almost 20 years in executive leadership positions. And so I was very focused on telling
Mm,
how something was going to be, or
mhm,
I spent most of that time also teaching people and coaching people in a professional setting, but there was always an agenda. And the thing that
uh,
I had to learn to let go of to do the Equus coaching appropriately or with any positive energy behind it was letting go of that agenda. So that was a really hard thing to work through for me is not having, talking points and thing one, thing two, thing three. I need to make sure I've done these things. Later in the training, we came around to making sure that we hit certain guideposts, but which was really valuable and it felt very comfortable. But the part that was very uncomfortable was at the beginning when I needed to learn how to completely let go of the agenda and kind of go into a space of intuition and awareness and allowing the conversation to unfold and allowing the horse's communication to come through. It was a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a big one. I'm really glad you actually pointed that out because I think what that allows us to highlight is what a coach actually even is. So, like, people can understand there's horses involved, but like, what is coaching and what makes it different from being a therapist or an advisor? What you're talking about is a big part of it. We're not there to offer advice, to teach something, to give talking points, to encourage somebody to show up or try something because we want them to do it. Our job is to mainly be curious about the people we work with, curious
Mhm.
about their perspectives, curious about their backgrounds, their approaches, their strategies, what experiments they're running in their life. And I
Mhm.
think that can be tricky sometimes where when you're training to be a coach, you kind of feel like it's your job to help fix someone's problems. And so you're like, okay, I got to have the right solutions to teach them. That's not what we're doing. We
Mm-mm.
don't want to be the source of someone's solutions for them. We want to empower them to trust themselves and find their own solutions. So I'm glad you got that lesson really early on and that you were willing to work through that discomfort of learning how to be at a different way of supporting people than you had been doing before.
Yeah. It was very powerful, and it shows up in every part of my life, parenting, other relationships. I took it back into the workplace. It was really an incredible shift.
Oh, okay. So not only did it benefit you in the role of being an Equus coach, but it actually benefited you outside of that too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Like to hear that.
Mhm.
One of the core theories that happens under our work is often the way you do one thing is the way you do all things. And so when
Mm,
we pull on the thread and make some work in one area of your life, it's likely to apply in other places of your life too, if you allow it to.
absolutely.
Yeah. So you go through the coach training, you learn your own stuff, you do your own work, you practice these skills, you become a certified Equus coach. You then go through the master facilitator training to then be able to run groups of this kind of work. What does your current Equus coaching look like? Who are the people you're working with and how are you structuring your work?
It's interesting. At this very moment, I'm more in a facilitator role with setting up
Mm,
this location that I've built, Equivana Farm. I'm facilitating other people coming in and doing their work. I find myself in a position of mentoring people
mm,
as needed, providing a canvas for other coaches to do their work. Um, and doing a completely separate program, which is very similar to Equus Coaching, but it has mounted work in it. And
mm,
so I step in and act as a coach with larger groups that come to the property with any of the other Equus coaches that need help. I have found myself inadvertently falling into Equus coaching relationships with people who may not wish to ride.
mm,
But they come to the property, they have a conversation, they're seeking something, and then we open up a conversation and it's a beautiful alternative for somebody who doesn't want to actually ride a horse, but they'd like to spend time with horses. So
mhm,
um, I my work tends to be more with groups. Up until recently, it's where I'm the most comfortable. It's where I've always done my corporate facilitation as well. But in this chapter that I've just recently begun, starting in about July, I'm finding a lot more individual one-on-one coaching is
mm,
happening,
mm.
and it's interesting. It's been an interesting shift.
Yeah, I like that you were talking about how there's different kinds of interacting with horses, and some of them are mounted where you're riding the horse, and some of them are on the ground. And that Equus coaching traditionally is one that's on the ground, where you're face to face with an animal that doesn't speak the same language as you do. And you're learning to build a relationship without the traditional control mechanisms that we think of used with horses like saddles and bridles and halters and all that kind of stuff. And so, for those of anybody that's listening, if you're interested in being around horses, but you're not interested in riding, that's not something that works for you. I'm kind of one of those people. My relationship with horses started on the ground. And while I can ride, it's just not the way I love connecting with them. I'd rather be right here face to face. I
Hmm.
like that. I like that relationship for some reason. So there are multiple ways to interact with horses. And as you were saying, like you facilitate a couple of different kinds of work that allow some people that want to access through mounted work and some people that want to work through groundwork. So I like that so much of this kind of equine facilitated learning can show up in many different ways and meet lots of different kinds of people and their interests when it comes to horses.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's good for the horses too. They like to do a
Yeah.
little bit of everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd really like to hear if there have been any meaningful, like, client stories or group stories that you've had in just your time recently with Equus Coaching.
A recent experience that really sticks with me was of a couple who came to a larger group event, and, um, they couldn't be more different in the way they showed up, and watching them both experience their day with horses in such different ways, but together was really incredible, and
Mm,
watching the conversations that they had when we had group facilitation and talked as everybody else there is an individual, and they were a couple, and I thought it was a really interesting, dynamic. They each had their own experience, they went off separately with different coaches at different times, but then when they'd come back together, you'd see how they would sort of process together, and it was an incredibly powerful, thing to watch, and without going into anything that they talked about, what I would say is I watched an arc from the beginning of the day to the end of the day of openness and receptivity, to learning things in a new way happen
mm,
on side. One side of the couple had a lot of that openness, and the other one came with very little to none externally, and by the end, it was a very different experience, and the person who came with no willingness to be part of this actually at the end of it sent in a screenshot from their GPS watch that showed them walking a labyrinth at the end of the facilitation with the horses and showed what their
whoa.
watch did on the GPS, and I thought, "That is the perfect visual of your arc, where you started and where
Uh,
you ended." Like, so cool.
wow,
It's
that
really
is
cool.
so cool. What do you think it was about the experience that helped that person be more open by the end of it? Was it the horses? Was it the coaching? What was it?
I think it was a combination of everything. I think, the first thing that I watch people go through is being outside.
Mm,
Spending so much time outside is very uncommon for a lot of people now. So being out in nature in a really beautiful, peaceful place and a safe environment, having your needs met, whether it be, just the basic Maslow's needs, there's restrooms, there's snacks, do what you need to do, and here's the general agenda, but otherwise having a very gentle day. I think that helps a lot to open people up, but, I think what I watched happen over and over again in groups and in individual sessions, there's something about that time with the horse when somebody's not used to spending time with horses that cracks open a shell around their heart. I don't know how else to say it. It's what happened to me, it's what I watch happen to others, and it's a profound moment that happens almost every time I see somebody in a round pen with a horse. It's
mhm.
pretty incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many guesses about why that happens, and yet it is something we see all the time.
It's not very common for people to be able to rub their hands on something alive, right? And
Yeah,
they also have cats or dogs and they're small, but this is a horse that's huge. And
1,000 pounds or more sometimes.
right, that tactile experience with the warmth and you feel the sun on you and their fur and their breath. There's just something that's so immersive about it, and you really can't
Yeah,
think about other things. You can't be anywhere but right where you are.
exactly. That's what I always think is one of the most powerful, regardless of whatever coaching we do and talking throughout the session. The fact that you have to be that being with an animal that size requires you to be present,
Mhm,
that is in itself profound. Because most of us are walking through our days either worried about the past or thinking about the future in worry, anxiety. And so when we can really get present, that changes our whole physiology, our way of thinking, our way of breathing, the way our heart is open or not open to things. So
mhm.
I think that's you're keying into it. It's like you have to be right there with your feet underneath you, standing in the sand with that big animal there.
Be there when the horse isn't there, when it walks away and hold
Uh-huh.
your space and process what that feels like,
Uh-huh.
there's a lot
Yeah, that's
comes.
it's a good point. It's not always warm and fuzzy. Sometimes it brings up the feelings of rejection or abandonment or this horse doesn't like me. Sometimes it brings up the negative things of life.
Mhm.
And Those are just as much a part of life and actually really important because it allows us to actually look at them and explore why that's coming up for you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm now really curious to hear a little bit about what you've been developing. So you recently started something called Bridle Up Hope San Diego, and you've also opened your own farm. So you lead the way. Tell me about these new adventures you're doing.
Well, I keep saying I need to get a mug that says, "Well, that escalated quickly," because things happen very, very fast. Uh, we in San Diego, we were really fortunate to have a wonderful farm that all of the Equus coaches who live here would work from. And they had beautiful horses, a great location, all the space you needed. And that farm went on the market
Mm,
unexpectedly. And when
yeah.
it happened, I had already processed this desire to grow my offering with, I think of it as equine enhanced experiences, really.
Hmm.
It was all the different things we can do with horses to help our outlook on life be more empowered and have more hope. And I found a program that's based on writing called Bridle Up Hope that was started in Utah. And it came the program was designed out of sort of a tragedy, the loss of somebody who was battling with depression, and her
Mm,
family put this program together because she was an equestrian and she took a lot of time helping others, going out on rides and coaching them through things they were going through. And when they lost her, they realized what a powerful voice that was. And so Bridle Up Hope um, is a program that they're trying to have 1,000 barns around the world. And San Diego is the 13th. We opened the 13th
mm.
location. I was supposed to be offering that program alongside my Equus coaching at this farm that this ranch that closed and
Oh,
sold. And so all of a sudden I needed to decide, what do I do next? I have this beautiful community of people. Everybody's been doing the work. We've gone through different trainings together. We work together, and we were homeless effectively to do our work. So I just decided, well, somebody's got to do it. I'll just sell my house. I lived in a condominium with no horses and uh, bought a small ranch, and the rest is history.
God bless the quick starts like you. I would just like stall out in all of the research that I would need to do that. And you're just like, yeah, why not?
Well, what I'll say is I know what we needed because I've been
Yeah.
working at different facilities around California and other states. I knew what was needed to be able to serve people with this work. I knew what a beautiful community we had here in San Diego of great coaches, and I didn't want that to be lost. So there was that, and then there was the Bridal Up Hope program that I had already gone through certification and training for and was ready to launch. And I knew that couldn't be lost, so it just needed to happen.
Mm.
And here we are.
Here we are. So that now leads you to purchasing what's now called Equivana Farms.
Yes, it's a 2-acre, it's very small, beautiful little property in Ramona, California. It looks out over a valley called Pomo Valley, and it feels very much like the land before time. You can't really see very many buildings from here. We're up on top of a mountain, so everything is very elemental. The sun is sunnier, the wind is windier, the birds sing louder. That's all I can tell you. Uh, and we have slowly but surely since July started building all the different pieces. So now we have 2 round pens, and we're about to put in a small arena. And we went from 1 horse to 6 horses and 2 donkeys in 6 months.
So you're right. That did escalate quickly.
It did. It did.
Wow. Well, first, let me just say, like, I know a lot of like gratitude is bubbling up that I want to express to you that you took some ownership in the community that was there. That there is a lovely little community of Equus coaches that are down there. And, if people were like sort of functioning individually and that happened where the property they were working on got sold, they'd kind of be on their own to figure it out. And you decided that that wasn't something you were willing to see happen. And so you took some responsibility and decided to open a space for people to be able to offer that. So just wanted to express some gratitude that you value the people in our community and that you helped the herd find their new home.
Yeah. I'm thrilled to have done it. It really is a deep, deep pleasure of mine.
Hmm. So tell me, what are the highlights in terms of things that are going well, and what are the things that are the sticky points of now owning a farm?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot to learn about
Uh-huh.
owning a property. The first was I have a whole list of questions I would offer people to ask before they buy a property. One of which is, where is the water? Do you have water
Uh-huh.
any
Oh, yeah.
besides the
Uh-huh.
house?
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Really important in California and places like Arizona, things where the drought can happen.
Indeed, indeed. I would say it's going really well. That the community has really come together to help. I've had a couple days where people, whether they're Equus coaches or their families and friends, come and just plant plants and pull out bushes that are poisonous to horses and help put up a round pen and all the things. The thing that is going well is also the thing that can be the most challenging, which is there's this deep desire for people to get to work and want to
Yeah.
bring their groups and do the things, but the facility needed to be built. We were
Yeah.
setting up a place that wasn't a horse facility prior to that. Um, so I would say everything is sort of a plus and a minus, but they're all ending up in the right direction at this point. The
Beautiful.
weather has been something I've learned how to work with, big time. Like, you understand
Yeah, lots
quickly.
of rain this year, huh?
A lot of rain. We had some major Santa Ana winds at one point, and I learned why the previous owners had not trimmed the trees on one side of the property
Oh,
because it
goodness.
blocked the wind, but
Whoa.
it needed to be trimmed to be healthy, so we did the right thing. Um, but you just learn things as you go through the seasons in a new place and welcome people and horses into a new space. There's a lot to learn.
Hmm. So it's now a place where people can bring their clients and can do their work? Okay.
Yep. We
It's an up
started
and running place.
It is up and running. There are still things that are being built, and a new bathroom is being built. There are, things that are being polished, I would say, but it's a functioning facility. And we've had groups starting actually in October. We started welcoming groups here.
Oh, lovely. Well,
Mhm.
spoiler alert that you'll be polishing and finishing that for the rest of your time. Having lived on a horse ranch, you will always be improving on it.
Yeah. We get something perfect, the horses break it or eat
Uh-huh.
it.
Oh,
Or
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that fence line's down. It's a constant effort of love, I guess, and sometimes frustration.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. I'm happy as can be. I can't believe how happy I am being dirty all the time.
Uh-huh. Yeah. There's something really satisfying about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially after being in corporate for so long.
Mhm.
Well, this has just been such a lovely chat. I've been loving hearing about what you're creating and sort of how the journey to get here. Like, it's so funny how many of us have such winding roads of like, we just decided we want to be around horses and around people. And all of a sudden now you look at you this many years later, owning a farm and opening up space for other people to do this work. So just fun to hear your trajectory with it. Are there any offerings that are happening at Equivana or through Bridle of Hope San Diego that you want to highlight?
Yeah, I would say for anybody who's looking and interested in a writing program, check out bridleuphope.org, and you can go to the San Diego location. You'll learn more about the curriculum that we offer. But for all of those who are within driving distance or who happen to be coming to San Diego, please reach out. My email is
Mhm.
stash@equivana.com. Maybe we can put that somewhere so people know how to
Yeah,
spell it. Um, I open the doors to anybody who's in training and they'd like to come here and just practice with our horses. I love having people bring groups here if they wish, or individual clients. We always create a private space. And it's really client driven. So whatever your client needs is what you'll get.
great. And what's the website for the farm?
It's equivana.com.
Easy. So I'll
E-
have your email and I'll have the link to that in the description of this video so that people can easily find it.
Thank you.
Oh, you're
Thank
so
you.
welcome. If any of this has been interesting to those of you that are watching, there are lots of Equus coaches around the country and around the world. So please go to equuscoach.com to find out more about the programs we offer at the Center for Equus Coaching. But also, if you're just looking for a coach to hire for yourself, you want to experience this, there's a whole directory of coaches in different states and different countries. And right on equuscoach.com, you can find that.